Hello, hello. I'm trying to get everything set. Hi, guys.
Yep. Get all the tech situated.
I have gone live on Facebook. Okay, YouTube, are we live?
So I have a live in the top left-hand corner. I'm not sure if that's for Facebook or for all of it or one or the other.
Hi, everybody. Now we're figuring out phones and stuff. Okay, looks like YouTube just went live.
All right.
Oh my goodness.
Yay.
Yay, we're live. We did it. So we have Johanna and Debbie and Sharon. Thank you. Kathy, you're here. Yay, thank you. Thank you for being my moderators.
Oops.
Okay.
Frozen again.
So, welcome and thank you for coming back to week 2 of Alchemical Wisdom. I'm Jodi Roberts. I never did introduce myself last time. And I was telling you all last time that I met Kristen floating in a lake. We meet in strange places up here in Arkansas. We're just like all floating in a lake. So we'll talk more about that day. That was a fun day. Hello, beautiful ones.
Yes, absolutely.
Hi, Lori. Okay, and Debbie and Teresa, welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay. Ooh, and I figured out how to post people's comments. That's really cool. Paisley, are you a Scorpio? Remember you asked for Scorpio music.
Scorpio. Hey, well, you got 2 with you right today, right now. So you're going to get it in all ways.
Are you Scorpio too?
Yeah.
Oh, geez, we're both Scorpios.
We got it all. The tail, the eagle, the rising, the phoenix rising. We got it all.
Oh my goodness. So, welcome everybody. It is wonderful. No, it was Scorpio season. Yes, I've noticed. Okay, what birthday was yours, Kristen? What date was yours?
It's the 20th. It's coming up.
Oh, it is the 20th. It's oh my God! It's right around the eclipse.
Oh yeah, bringing it
through. Mine was 11/11. I've already had
happy birthday! All right, wow, you had on a powerful day yourself. Always, every year.
I know. I thought it was very nice of the Marine Corps that I was born into to give me a holiday every birthday.
The veterans.
I took that personally.
Yeah.
Actually, I had friends come over and cook dinner for me, which was amazing. And we were trying to watch all 3 Matrix movies. We got through 2 and it was like, I'm tired.
Yeah. Incredible.
So how is everybody out there? Nobody's talking. Everybody's quiet. Okay, you guys are laughing at us already. Good. Yeah. Okay, here's what we're going to do first. In my book that I can't line up, my Alchemical Wisdom book, this book is radically cool because he's constructed it with little quotes and with the directions of just scroll through the pages and open it up somewhere and read the one that resonates. Thank you, Johanna. And I love the quote that popped out today. So here we go. And then I'm going to play some music. Can you imagine a being whose light is more radiant than suns? That's an archangel. You carry the inheritance of that being. So breathe that in. Can you imagine a being whose light is more radiant than suns? That's an archangel. You carry the inheritance of that being. It was just like, wow, I never thought about it that way. So, for the music, Kristen's going to mute herself. I am going to change both the camera and the sound. I'm downstairs in my other studio today. And natal Neptune. Oh my goodness. So, for those who are not used to sound healing, and I'm going to play, I think I can touch them, these guys over here, right there, Tibetan bowls. The easiest way to receive the ancient ones, I'm going to play the ancient bowls and the earth gong behind me, is to put a hand on your heart chakra and breathe. The sound waves are going to go into your bodies or your minds or your emotions. And if they find something that's tight, they're just going to work to untangle it. And if you breathe deeper, it'll pop faster. And yes, you may feel this all over your body. That's just the way these things work. So my invitation is to, as I back up my chair, is to take a very deep breath. And I am playing second chakra D and A, third eye. So I'm playing D and A balls. So deep breath, we're playing the big one. And just breathe. And just feel the resonance of this bowl. And as you breathe, you can lower your shoulders and just relax your body. A few more deep breaths. just take a few deep breaths, and whatever came through, move the energy. All right. Yes. Okay. How are all of you? Mystic Janet. Hey, sweet one. Is there snow up there yet? Ha. So now that we're all like wet noodles.
Yes.
Yeah, you sounded. I'm always reading. I'm always reading the energy of what I'm hearing through the bowls of the audience, of whoever's listening, and you sounded really good. Yeah, and your lower chakra is D is in the sacral chakra. That's the big guy over here. And the earth gong behind me is tuned to a C sharp, which somebody in Europe decided that was the note of Mother Earth. I think she has many, many notes, but it is lower chakra. And then the littler bowls were up here. Hi, Gordon. Okay, so I'll play some more music at the end for those who missed it. So, my Lady of the Lake here in Arkansas. So there was this day, I thought that, that was only my second time at the lake.
Okay.
I live on one that I don't swim in. Oh, snow. Yeesh. This is Lake Washita, I think is how you pronounce it.
Wachita, yeah.
Wachita. And it is huge. I mean, it's a huge lake, and it's a man-made lake. It's a park. And the water there's so many crystals here in this part of Arkansas that being in that water feels like you're in liquid quartz crystals. It's just an amazing feeling.
Yeah.
And there's a little cove that my friend from the village here brought me to the first time. So that was my second time she brought me there. And Kristen was like over there with a friend. And somehow there were a lot of people that had never met each other before that day at the lake. So we all ended up just in this giant circle, floating on our floaties, having a chat.
Yeah.
It was really neat. So
it was really beautiful because one of the women in the group recognized or just overheard me and my friend talking, and she's like, "Oh, we talk that language too," and it was more of like just, the more, the higher frequency conversation. And it was a really beautiful widening of this circle. And it was really amazing too, because that blue heron came and sat on the point in the cove next to us pretty much the whole time. And then later on in our conversation, an eagle flew over, and it was just a really magical connection, synergy together. Yeah.
And the crows that are on that lake are the fishing crows, which is a different breed than the ones I have here. I've got regular crows. So they got in on the act at some point.
Yeah, they did. Can I share a bit about the lake? Because I'm in love with the lake.
I'm in love with the lake.
The lake's in love with me. We have such a powerful connection, the lake and I. It's kind of what really drew me back here to Arkansas and to Hot Springs itself. But what's really powerful about the lake is it's spring fed, is that the lake itself is filled by several springs, and it took 30 years for the lake to become what it is today. And from what I understand, the lake, it was kind of an endeavor from many of the people who were here that were connected in with the crystal to actually fill it, because some of the biggest veins of the quartz crystal were on the land where the lake now is. And it was a way of protecting the crystal from being mined. And So yeah, just like you said, it's completely like liquid crystal being in that lake, and it's a very relaxing and also very elevating experience. And a lot of times I end up having visions and journeys and all kinds of fun things when I enter into the waters of the lake.
I didn't
Yeah.
know that about that. I knew there was quartz veins underneath it. I didn't realize
Mhm.
it was to save them from being mined. There's a lot
From
of
what I understand, yeah.
crystal mines around here, so
Yeah.
that's neat. Yes, that's neat. And my flotation devices are official bequeathed noodles. Somebody from the village handed me two of her, pool noodles and said, "I am bequeathing these to you." So I'm out there floating on noodles. I love it out there. I love the wildlife. I mean, to have a blue herons aren't known for liking humans. They just, I mean, I have one that will come around here and say hi and strut his stuff. But this is both times I've seen that blue heron just get as close as he can to us on a point where he can be safe and leave. And just sort of, the energy of, I'm going to just eavesdrop on the energy because it feels good, It's sort of like this energetic purr of, oh yeah, this feels good. They are regal. They are amazing animals. Yeah, it is gorgeous. I mean, it's just, I didn't realize Arkansas was this pretty until after I moved here.
Yeah, me neither. It's pretty amazing. It's a hidden gem in the middle of the state or country.
Yeah,
It really is.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Now tell me again where you moved from. I don't remember.
Yeah. Well, it's been a roundabout excursion. I was in California and left California after about 16 years and ended up in Wyoming for a short bit and then ended up in Fort Smith for a year. And then after that, I was guided to go to Crestone, Colorado. And after Crestone, Colorado, I was guided to come back to Arkansas. And so it's been kind of a rapid shift of energetics. And I was living in another part of Arkansas when I was guided and heard the message to move to Hot Springs. And so here we are.
Hmm.
Here
And
we
I live in
are.
Hot Springs Village, which is north of Hot Springs.
Yes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, it's been
So
quite a journey.
it has been a journey. So before I ask my four questions that I've come up with, I have one from reading. What I'm loving about this is I have all these awesome friends that do this awesome work, and I get to go read their website because it's like I'm going to sit down and read their websites now. And I did that this morning. And the name of your website is Awakened Soul.
Yes.
And the question that comes up is, what was your awakening like? Because we talk about that stuff all the time. So, what was it like for
Yeah.
you?
Yeah. Wow. So I know like for many of us, it was a lifelong journey. I mean, the first thing that was showing up was remembering as a child, as a very young child, that I didn't really quite understand the world around me. It didn't make sense to me. It just felt very disconnected and I felt like I couldn't connect into it, right? I was always like, what's going on here? It's not comfortable. And then, after a series of experiences, I kind of was a repressed, okay, go. Thank you. I was a very kind of repressed child, and it was in my teens when I finally uh, decided that it was time to explore myself and allow who I was to really come out. And so as a teenager, I just really recognized, there was more to the world and I was ready to meet it. I was ready to meet it because before I was like, I'm just going to like do my thing, keep closed off. And so when I did that and I was really starting to open up, things just happened really quickly. At the time I was called to become vegetarian, start doing yoga, do meditation, as a teenager and just explore reality. And from that perspective, and then in my 20s, things really started happening where I was noticing energetics. I was seeing what was happening in people's bodies physically, mentally, emotionally, and I was recognizing that, wow, all of these things that are happening physically and mentally and everything are coming from somewhere else first. Right. It's like, it's, and I didn't have the context and the language then. And so I started studying. I started studying energy healing, medical to intuitive things. I started studying, mystery schools. And it was just like this progression. As I started to tap into those things, naturally more and more started to wake up within me. And then from that point, I realized a part of me was like, I don't need these schools. I don't need these certificates. I am just going to feel into myself and continue my meditation practice and continue that inner journey and let everything be revealed from within. And so that's really what it became for me, was just really studying and myself and looking at the world and seeing what the relationship was. And from there, in 2013, boom, I had a big life change, chosen because I was like, it's time. I need to be on my path. I need to be doing everything that's in synergy and resonance and coherence with my life, with my soul. And then Metatron came through and said, asked me to help support the forming of the new earth, assisting in that. And then from there, it was a very rapid pace with Metatron, with Melchizedek, with Mother Mary, with all the beings that are assisting in this to support my physical, mental, and emotional opening to all the new energetics. My DNA, I was like, new body parts were coming in, new DNA, all of this was happening. So it was really a progression, of everything. It wasn't a rapid thing for me. It was more of a beautiful progression until it was like, okay, game on, we're doing this.
So the question that I have here, because you have a little one, you have a little star child. How has all of the the one over there?
Yeah, the one over there.
How has all of your experiences helped you with him?
That's a really good question. It really helped me because, speaking of which, he's having a moment. And this is normal with star children, with me on these calls. So I need to go take one moment and help him. I'm really sorry about this.
We can hear him. Okay, my sacred audience, this is your opportunity to ask questions. So ask away. And this is how it is with young ones, especially the young ones that are sensitive to the energies that are going on in the world. Yes, she's a mommy. You're a mohair. You're a mommy. Okay, Debbie, that's great. So I don't have children. I think I have hummingbird children. Does that count? But I've never had kids, so I can't relate to the moments that you all have as mothers. You wish you woke up when your boys were little. God, I know. Wouldn't that have been amazing if we were raised by awake parents? I mean, that's such a sacred thing. There's so many awakened parents now. It's really cool. Very, very cool. So I think I'm going to play some more music while we're waiting. You get more. Change the audio.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, you're back? Okay.
Yeah. He needed help poor little guy. He needed help in the bathroom.
The really important things in life.
Yeah, the things you got to take care of.
Play that high note
Ooh, yeah,
again. Which one was the high note? Okay. Hold on. Let me go find the high note. Beep, 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 beep. Clicky all the right click boxes. Okay. Paisley, high note. That one? You're going to have to help me here. That's not high. Don't have any high notes over here. That was all of them. I have a few more over here. have a few over here. Then we have these guys. There's a nice high note. Second or third note of my first play. Okay, that would have been. That was the first array after the big bowl. And this is A, D. Is vibrating a tight spot in your shoulder. Okay, let's do it again. There we go. Sound healing at its finest. So take a deep breath right into that spot. Right, and change the sound. The thing I love about learning to work on Zoom, because I started Zoom about 2 years before we got shut down with the pandemic, is how amazing, it's the A, yeah. It's how amazing the vibration translates over the airwaves, which the beauty of shamanism is outside of space-time. So it's just an intention to get to you. Yeah, there's 2 A's, they're off just a little bit, which makes them interesting.
Yeah, I was really impressed with how it sounded in the beginning when you were playing. It was like, wow, it's like we could really feel
You
the
get the
vibration.
wow.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I have been running around learning the house because I'm new here, and I finally discovered that setting up a Yeti microphone with a Mac computer gets the best sound anywhere in the house, because I've been using a Windows PC for years, and the Mac is like, watch me. So that's what I have down here. The first time it hit your shoulder and your right butt cheek relaxed and you knew you had it. Well, that makes sense because it's D and A, so it's lower chakras and upper chakras. Good job. Good breathing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're
So
raising a star kid as an awakened mother, which a few people were saying it would have been nice to have woken up when they were younger with kids. How has
yeah.
that changed your life?
Oh, it's huge. It's not easy.
Uh-huh.
Because I mean, one of the things that happened was when I was 5 months pregnant with him, I was meditating, sitting up on my bed, and Archangel Michael just came in and said, this is an aspect of me coming through. Here's his name. Here's what he's here for, and started bringing in, the higher self of this being coming in. And so I've had since that time, relationship with this being in my life, this physical being in my life, with his higher self. Mm-hmm. So often I'll have conversations with his higher self, especially if we're going through challenging times or like that. So that's how it's been helpful for me to have my channels open to these communications so that I can receive that guidance, which sometimes makes daily life easier and sometimes it doesn't, because just relationships are not always easy, especially when there's a lot of high energy, right? There's a lot of high energy. So I think the beauty of it is that because I've been in this reality of living this more multi-dimensional, more divine oriented life, I can see a lot of the things that are happening from that perspective. So I can understand him as a soul, and I can understand his path and why different things are coming up and why he may be behaving in certain ways or wanting to explore certain things. And so I can hold that space, right? At the same time as, there's still that he's still a child, and he still, wants to be a child. And so I have to remember that, and that his brain and his whole being is still developing and coming online in certain ways that is just the normal biological, physiological expression, while his higher self and his awakened state is present. You know, so it's like this. Sometimes I can see in him that it's challenging
Yeah.
because of that sensitivity, because of that. I feel like I'm not caught up with this level of experience that I'm perceiving and having, right?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
it's this dance. It's this dance. And so for me, what's happened is I recognize how I was as a child, and I didn't have anyone in my life to meet me there. Right. And so it's kind of like, ooh, you know, how do I keep dancing with this?
Yeah.
How do I keep dancing with this? And the other challenge is because there's a lot coming through me a lot of times, and a lot that I'm perceiving. Sometimes it's like, whoa, this is like too much energy. Being with his childlike self, especially when there's a lot happening and I'm like in this more expanded space, and then here comes the 6-year-old little boy like, you know, let's do this, you know, and his,
Being a little
you
human.
know, testosterone like kicks, and I'm like, whoa, like,
Yeah, exactly.
trying to navigate these different energies is pretty powerful, but it always brings me back to the breath. It always brings me back to the breath and the presence and connecting in with what's real and what's true, and which with that I know is that, you know, he's this beautiful being that is, we just get to be present and play.
Yeah.
You know, we just get to be
Yeah.
present and play as much as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, I think,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm obviously I mean, I am, as an elder, I think back on my parents, you know, my dad, the Marine, my mom, the artist. I mean, if I had woken up at that age into what I know how to do now, I don't think it would have turned out really well. I can just imagine, because in the military, especially in an officer's family, everything is based on the facade of how the family acts. I mean, it's all
Yeah.
facade. It's
Yeah.
all put on a really good face and don't do anything that brings bad juju to the officer. And I remember that acutely as a kid. And I'm like, yeah, I could see me just start to channel.
Yeah.
Mom, there's a dead person over there. You know? It's like,
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot of big energy, isn't it? It's kind of, for me, it's that balance of, okay, let's support him in developing this, but he's also a really brilliant little kid, so he picks up on things really fast. But then there's also that I'm smart, I know attitude already, like, you know, and I think he's still trying to figure that out. We're still trying to figure out how to communicate, you
yeah.
know, in a way that I can reach him at that level, but also at that 6-year-old, you know,
Yes.
place, because
Yes.
we're still
The,
bridging the gap. But he's,
the Muggle and the Mystic, you know, they're
yeah,
both in the same body.
because I can see him switch from one level. He's
Yeah.
constantly switching from each level, and it's like, okay, who am I talking to now? Like, who am I talking to now? You know, so it's a bit of a dance, you know, and
That is
yeah,
cool.
it's
Yeah, and
fun.
I've had the honor of working with him and
Yes.
letting him and teaching him to use music as a language to
Yeah.
express his emotions. And man, that kid's smart. You know, it's like, you got your hands full.
Oh, yes, I do.
Bless you, bless you. Better you than me. I'll take hummingbird.
Yeah, I get the question a lot. How do you do it? How do you do it? And it's like, well, we just do it. As every parent knows, we just do it, right?
Yeah,
We just do it the
that's
best we
funny.
can.
That's funny. So
Oh,
I'm going to ask my channeled questions
yes, please.
that we introduced last week, because it's just, you know, it's like beyond work, beyond work. And you talk about meditating. I'm sure there's lots of meditators out
Mhm,
here. When you quietly meditate
mhm,
and you go into your heart and you access that wisdom,
mhm.
what does it show you? What does your heart show you about why you are here, why you chose to be here on the planet at this time?
Mhm.
What was
Yeah.
that choice about?
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, the choice was to bring harmony,
Mhm.
to allow all of our hearts to have the pure reception of what's true for each one of us and what's true as a collective of why we all are here. So that each one that is here has their expression, is in their power of their pure source expression, and allowing. Because whenever as you were speaking that question, I was breathing into my heart and just feeling that deep expansion that happens, and that
Mhm.
unity and that deep inner bliss and joy start to come forth and bubble up and be like, "Yes, this is what we're here for, right? This is
Mhm.
what we're here for. This is the space that becomes, uh so unified, so
Mhm.
unified in the multidimensional field that what I'm here to allow people, to guide people into, is to access this space where everything is accessible.
Mhm.
Every bit of your wisdom, every bit of your power, every bit of the knowledge, all the source experience, so that we can come into coherence with our soul, come into coherence with everyone around us, come into coherence with earth, and recognize, life as a gift, and seeing everything as alive,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
really being present with that, really being present with the now moment of our experience, so we can be fully in our bodies as a soul. So merging the human and soul together to have this grand experience of
Mhm.
life. Of
Yeah,
life. Yeah, yeah,
beautiful. Thank
yeah,
you.
yeah.
Question 2. Ancient alchemy. This is actually his definition of alchemy in here. Ancient alchemy transmuted lead to gold.
Mhm, mhm,
The human heart transmutes shadow to light
mhm.
when we use an alchemical intention. I mean, we have to be
Mhm.
awake enough to do shadow work.
Yeah.
How has that process shown up in your life?
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I really like that Mystic Janet, yeah, becoming light, because that's really what
Mhm.
has showed me the way is, every time something comes up, we get to, through the heart breath, as you're saying, as you're breathing into your heart, letting it all show up.
Mhm.
Letting it all show up, all the shadow work, and knowing that all the lead is everything that we have thought that isn't in alignment with our truth. Everything
Mhm.
that we've taken on physically, everything that we've taken on from our environment, from other lifetimes, and going, wow, that's the lead, right? All of
Mhm.
our identities, all of our ego, all of all personalities. And so for me, it's shown up as a way to uh, really learn how to embrace
Mhm.
everything. Learn
Mhm.
how to embrace everything in such a way that it automatically becomes light. And for me, it's shown into, first being connected in with the sun, the inner sun beings and the inner earth beings of the crystalline grid, and
Mhm.
recognizing we are all light. That's all we are, is this liquid plasmic photonic being that's taking on this form to have this experience. And what do we get to do is we get to recognize all of that, recognize all the stuff, all the ideas and beliefs that aren't true, and going,
Mhm.
wow, I'm going to just breathe life into the light and let it all dissolve. Let all of that dissolve and become a light body again. And so for me, it was in the beginning of recognizing my shadow, it was a real challenge. I had a lot of battles going on. I had a lot of battles going on inside of me. And, as I was saying, as a repressed, being most of my, up until like my late teens, and just really
Mhm.
holding everything inside and not really knowing how to express myself, have my voice, and know how to be in the world. It took it took a lot. It felt like it was scary at first to go, wow,
Mhm.
that's me, because we have perception of ourselves, but then when we're recognizing, wow, all that we're holding inside,
Yeah.
and all that the heart and the mind is constantly going back and forth about,
Yeah.
and going, whoa, whoa, whoa. So it just took those moments of saying, okay, I'm going to go in. I'm going in. I'm going in. I'm going to let myself see myself. I'm going to let myself have these experiences and recognize where they came from if I have
Mhm.
access to that. and start to love all of it, and start to embrace all of it, start to have compassion for myself, and start to have compassion for other people, and start to have compassion for what we experience on earth, and even off of earth in our other lifetimes, and go, wow, this is amazing, and start to see it as this amazing adventure of of perception. And so for me, it became like, oh, that's scary, to, oh, wow, this is incredible. And
Yeah,
it's an
reframe.
amazing adventure and exploration. So let's keep going. Let's keep
Yeah.
going in every moment. Even, and that's how we get, and then seeing relationships that way, even if they're challenging relationships. Like I had a moment of like, okay, here's my son yelling at me while I'm on this call. And okay, I'm just gonna have to breathe into it and and
Exactly.
and say, okay, I got to go support him, and it's okay, right? And it's not a big deal. And so releasing all the judgments,
Yeah.
releasing all the judgments, and that's the biggest piece, is coming into that balance and that harmony, so that we can just dance with it in each moment without the judgment, with just pure perception. And that's for me where there's still moments, of course, where I go into judgment. I'm not perfect at all. I go into judgment, and it's going, the awareness is having the recognition of the judgment and going, wow, and noticing how it's feeling, and noticing what it's creating in my reality, and going, so it really opens the door to these deeper awarenesses of perception that just, whoa, it's incredible. It's really incredible to see how much we can really gain in each moment by being open to each moment. And that's that alchemy, right?
Yeah.
That alchemy, because then what happens is we really truly become the creators of our reality, because we're allowing ourselves to open into the moment and recognize how we're being, how it's being reflected back to us, and what it's creating, and going, yes, I see myself. I see
Yeah.
myself. I see myself. And
Exactly.
and when we get into that mirror place of the shadow work, right? The light and the dark is all just one. There's no, it's not, it's like, and then recognizing this dual reality we live in, we no longer have to live in that duality. We can come into that neutrality
Exactly.
and the
I call that
unity.
the sacred paradox, just standing in the
Yeah.
center of it all. Yeah.
Yeah. Just standing in the center of it all. And one of the words I like to use is we can just constantly pivot. Where were we? And okay, now I'm back in my center. Okay, oh, I have to adjusting again. So we're our own barometer, and we can just keep adjusting the tune, keep adjusting the
Yes.
frequency
Yeah.
throughout our moment to moment life. And yeah.
Yeah. So Debbie, you've been talking about, I'm looking at the comments of everybody. Since meditating through your heart, oh, wait a minute, I can like clicky on it and post it. Since I've been meditating through my heart, I've dropped some foods and old habits are starting to lose their appeal.
Yeah.
And it's interesting in talking about meditation because I was taught meditation in many, the Zen order I was in and different things like that, that it was a head thing. It's a brain technology.
Mm-hmm.
And heart math, in the studying and the research they've done over the last 20 some odd years, they have found that it all starts in the brain cells in the heart.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like the computer up here in the head has been somewhat hacked. It's got a
A
virus
bit.
known as doubt and fear. And the brain cells in the heart are pure and they're
Mhm.
clean. I remember Greg Braden coming to Dallas at some point before I moved from there. And I mean, Greg Braden attracts thousands of people. He had 100 of us in the audience. And I mean, I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry you didn't get as many people, but oh, goody, I'm in the front row. It was in a small, in a church. And, and he was doing heart math with us and he was guiding us through some of the guided meditations to go into the heart and to ask the heart questions
Mhm.
and look at the difference in the purity of the answers versus what goes on up in the head. And for me, I mean, we had about 10 seconds between his two pieces of what he was doing. And I think I asked 10 questions in there, and it was bam, 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 bam. Here's all these answers. And I'm like, that was fast. It's a
Yeah.
really beautiful way to find your truth, like what you're talking about, Debbie. It's like, okay, I don't need those foods. I don't need those habits, and when you breathe in through the heart first and then dial in the head, there's a stronger harmony in your own body.
Yeah, absolutely. And for me, it's that purification process, that's the purification process, whether it's, if you're aware of the foods you're eating or the thoughts you're having or the relationships you're in or your behavior patterns, whatever it is, that the whole alchemy and the breathing through the heart. And also, what happens the more we breathe through the heart and the more we connect into that space, it purifies the mind.
Yes.
It purifies the mind, it purifies the gut, it purifies all the cells in our body. And then when we're consistently breathing into that space, that is the pure reception of our being, the heart, then the DNA starts to shift,
Exactly.
because you're constantly breathing into the source of our light, the source of our purity. And that's what was happening for me as well, just having had that first experience of being vegetarian, as a teenager and starting yoga and meditating. It was like, oh, the body will be able to transmit more light, be able to take in more light, more frequency. And then the purification process just continues and continues and continues. And it deepens our capacity to receive. It deepens our capacity to be in that centered, neutral space, right? It deepens the capacity to have that joy and to be able to, as someone said, go with the flow, go with the flow in life without, the tensions or the constrictions or the confusion or the doubt. Is that inner knowing just really starts to speak. And what happens is our body becomes a temple. It truly does become a temple and a structural geometry of the whole that's in synergy, with all that we are and all that is. And that's really who we are. So the more we do it and purify, that's the exciting part of this journey.
So for those of you who are listening, let's try an experiment.
Yeah.
Put your hands on your heart area, your heart chakra, your heart, and just breathe for a minute. Just get the sacred oxygen in there. Bring your attention, your focus down where the hands are. And from this part of your body, pretend you have eyes in your heart and ears, and just look up at the brain without going there. Just witness what's happening in your head. You're just sacred witnessing, sacred listening to your own mind. And keep breathing deeply and witness. What do you find out? What do you all see or hear?
Thank you for that. Yeah, for me, I saw a beautiful white light. My mind was just perfectly still, and it was just this pure white light in the middle of my head. And that's, something that I've been working with for a while. So I'm really curious of what other people are going to be sharing here.
Well, and it's interesting for me, depending on what's going on in my life. I remember one of my Zen teachers at one point, said, and this was before heart math. Now that I've done the heart math and taken the training and teach it, it's like, oh yeah, I get it. Before heart math, he's like, you are not what you think. This chatting up here, whether it's positive, negative, or neutral, the conversation in our head is not who we are. Yeah, Johanna, that will drop your heart rate. That's heart math 101. You breathe down here and everything calms down.
Yeah.
What I have noted, and it's really funny because what I've noticed if I'm stressed and I do this,
Yeah.
attention follows wherever your hand touches your
Yeah.
body. So,
Yeah.
you come down here and breathe, and it's like sort of going, whoa, there's that circus up there. It's really loud.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you're stressed
Yeah.
out, it's like the monkeys are all jumping up and down.
Yeah.
And it's a really good skill to be able to detach from the conversation up here, especially if it's stressful,
Yeah.
and then breathe the peace and the gratitude up into the brain
Yeah.
and bring both into harmony and coherence, because together
Yeah.
the head and the heart are stronger
Yeah.
together.
Yeah. Because you're bringing in the wisdom,
Mm-hmm.
when you're actually tapping into the deeper intelligence and
Mm-hmm.
wisdom of yourself. It's nice to be, that's, for me, that's what happens with the heart, because then that doubt
Right.
and the confusion rests. And also what I feel is that I'm really in my body when I breathe, after I breathe through the heart. I'm really in my body, and my whole pelvis area,
Yeah.
everything's open. The energy is just flowing more freely again, that all the constrictions
Mm-hmm.
loosen up, and then I'm present.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
present in the moment rather than in the chatter or in the have to do's of this and that. It's like,
Right.
more presence. And so I'll do that throughout the day. I'll stop and just breathe through the heart. I'll just stop and breathe and go, and just notice,
Yeah.
And now it's become automatic because, I've been doing it for quite some time, and maybe you have too. It just becomes like this automatic thing. You find yourself kind of tense about something, like,
Mm-hmm.
it's just like the
Yeah.
automatic response now to just take a moment and
Take a breath.
settle and breathe and
Yeah.
connect again. And
Yeah, I can tell when the shoulders are up like this. It's time
yeah,
to
it's time to
breathe.
time to take some breaths. Yeah,
Ooh,
yeah,
Johanna's brain looked like space.
nice and
The
quiet.
star
Ooh,
plan up
yeah.
there.
Yeah, beautiful. And all the lights that Debbie's seeing. Yeah, and clear space,
Mhm.
Gordon. Thank
Well,
you.
and
Yeah,
it's just an
yeah,
amazingly simple doorway in.
yes.
And
Mhm.
HeartMath has shown in their research that our psychic abilities start here. If you want this clear in the pineal and third eye, breathe up through your heart. So yeah, it's fascinating. It's simple. It's so freaking
Yeah.
simple.
Well, what's powerful, oh, anyone want some mulberries?
Ooh, food.
So
When we can pass the food through the screens, we mastered shamanism.
here, now you can taste it. Here, just taste it automatically. You don't even need to put it in your mouth. Yeah. So, yeah, it's really incredible because, what we are talking about this ancient wisdom, this ancient mystical wisdom of, being superbly present and in tune with our intuition, being in tune with the inner wisdom, being in tune with all of this. And then once we start practicing following that intuition and the inner guidance and our psychic abilities, then the less there's the doubt, there's less the confusion because you strengthen that muscle, right? The heart's a muscle. And
Heart to
even
muscle.
just the swirling, the spiraling of energy that is the physical body that forms the
Mhm.
heart and the physical body. It's like that's like source spiral right there in the beginning as we're forming as a human body in the
Yeah.
womb. It's just it's there we are. It's just it's like the galaxy is forming and it forms this muscle to just bring it through the whole body. And when we remember that, it's just light. It's just light, and we get to create that through the body with our heart, through our breath and our heart.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's like, okay, so Debbie, you've done this for a year and not easy to learn how to breathe. Any of us that have had any kind of trauma, which I did as a child, we become shallow breathers.
Yeah. Mhm.
And to expand our intuitive
Mhm.
psychic abilities, we have to be breathing.
Yeah. Yes.
And of course we're breathing or we wouldn't be alive. We have to be breathing deeply,
Yes. Mhm.
groundedly, with Mother Earth, so that
Yeah.
we can go up into the sky and expand up there.
Yeah.
It's so simple, but it's so important.
Yeah, it's like the above, so below, right? It's like the air's breathing, the earth's breathing, you know, our body's breathing, and for all of our fluids and our organs and everything to be, you know, optimally functioning so that we can be in our intuitive psychic state. You know, it's all about the breath and relaxing in so the body can be open.
Yeah.
The
And we
body
all
can be
have
open.
intuitive psychic abilities. I mean,
Everyone.
a lot of us love to go to readers. I'm one of, I mean, I can read, but I like to go to them too. And we all have access to our wisdom, to our internal wisdom. Can you ask Kristen a question? Of course.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and I appreciate this question, Debbie, because so is this the question is about breathing? When you meditation, you feel yourself wanting to stop breathing and what's happening there? Because I had this experience when I was younger too, when I was beginning to meditate in my teens and my early 20s. I would get into such a state sometimes, you know, that either there was like either one or two things happening, I noticed. Either something really uncomfortable was showing up and my body was constricting around it,
Yeah.
or I was in sometimes such a high state that I was like, well, you know, like in this, you know, moment. And so there's that part of ourselves that when you're in that state, you know, recognizing and coming back to the heart and asking the question, where is this breathing stopping showing up from? And Debbie, when I look into your space, if you don't mind me, it's this is showing up because you showed up and you're asking the question. I'm noticing this part of your body, especially your kidneys area and stuff like that, that can get overactive, you know, can get a bit overactive. And so there's that part of the nervous system and the adrenals wanting to like act up. And sometimes when that happens, the body wants to go, you know, that survival flight mode. But then you also, you know, have this, you know, open energy that wants to flow. And so just be patient with it and just be open to the experience. And if you find yourself stopping breathing, because sometimes there's that nervousness. What I'm seeing too is that nervousness of going into the unknown. You know, the unknown is starting to permeate the physical body because it wants to bring you into a different frequency. And sometimes when the body is not familiar with that frequency and it's like it has nothing to relate to, it can create that nervousness. Right. So yes, just be patient and just keep breathing into the nervousness. And when you feel that nervousness, just say, hi, nervousness. You showed up. Thank you for being here again. What is it that you want to show me today? And communicate with the nervousness, communicate. And everyone else that maybe has something else that shows up in your meditations or shows up in, you know, what happens, go into dialogue instead of like going, you know, and this is through the heart. And this becomes a practice too. Instead of dialoguing through the brain of like, oh, what is that? What's happening? Breathe through the heart and welcome that nervousness into the breath of the heart. Welcome whatever it is you're experiencing into the breath of the heart so that the wisdom can come forth of what that is and can relax it and recognize it. Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So, my goodness, we've almost used up the hour. So, I have one last question.
Yeah.
When you look at the essence of
Mm-hmm.
who you are and what you bring here, what is that vibrational frequency as a frequency?
Unity. There, it's all source. There, it's all of them together. There's no separation. There's no separateness, no polarization, no division. It's all one. And and even my heart's lighting up as I'm saying that because that's the truth of our heart, right? And that's the truth of beingness. And so I appreciate you asking that question because I want to relate a little bit because in the beginning, you know, in 2013, when all that happened with Archangel Metatron and Melchizedek and all these beings coming in, they were literally taking me through different dimensions and so showing me the dimensional functions and how it relates to our lives and how we can operate and how we can, you know, function and understand the structure of reality, basically. And it's just developed into this, well, without one, there is none.
Exactly.
right? With- so, so, so when we need to, we can go into the different structures and geometries and dimensions to catalyze within a certain dimensional function, right?
Mhm.
But then come into, but I feel that the practice for us most of the time is to be in that central, neutral, unified, harmonized space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you.
You're
Thank you
welcome.
so much. And thank your little one for making his guest appearance.
Yes, of course.
It's always good to see his energy.
It's the
Hear
flow
his
of
voice.
life. It's the flow of life, isn't it?
It is the flow of life.
Yeah, I've had to come into that recognition because sometimes I'll get tense of like, oh, it's interrupting the thing, and I'm like, and I'm like,
He's not.
whatever. It's just a part of life. So here we
Well,
are.
it's like so many readers have these amazing cats that come right up
Yeah,
in the screen. And I've had cats do that to me when I'm talking to
yeah.
somebody on Zoom. The cats will come in and look at me like, okay, who are you?
Mhm.
And and it's like, yeah, that's life. That's beauty. That's beingness and relating through a screen as best we can. So the kids do the same thing.
Yes.
It's really cool.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love it. So I would like to really thank you. It was good to talk. I haven't seen you in a while, so it's really good to see you
Yeah,
again.
it's nice to see you
It's a little
again,
too
Jodi.
cold for the lake right now. Uh,
Yes.
and next week, I have one of my Hathor sisters joining us, Goddess Mariposa, Goddess Butterfly. And I love her. She is just this huge Hathor energy. So we're bringing her in next week. And I thank all of you that joined us this week. I appreciate you and love you. And I am going to play us out musically on the heart bowl and the head bowl so we get a little more practice in that kind of breathing. So let me change my sound again. Beep, beep, doop. And the camera. Beep, doop, beep, doop. Okay. Oh, you can see the bowls. So these two big guys over here. Uh-oh, lost the stick. There you are. So this big one down here is the heart bowl. Oops. So just take your hand and put it back on your heart or your heart chakra and breathe. In heart math, this is called heart-focused breathing. So the bowl invites you to relax your body and your shoulders and focus right here in the heart center. And once you're anchored in your heart, you bring to heart consciousness something that you're grateful for. And breathe into that frequency of gratitude and also breathe it throughout your body. It's like gratitude is going to every cell in your body saying thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for everything you do. And then with breath and focus, you breathe from the heart to the head. And like these two bowls are talking with each other, your heart and your head is talking with each other. And eventually, they come into harmony. And take that harmony and breathe it throughout your entire body. So first you thanked all your cells, now you're harmonizing all of them. more deep breaths. And thank all of you. Oh, we're 5 minutes late. Uh-oh. I know. I'll work on not dropping sticks when I'm doing this. I had a few of them going to land on the floor. So thank you all. See you next week. Kristen, thank you so much. It's so good to see you.
Yeah, I really appreciate you and your presence and your beauty, and I appreciate everyone that was here. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And good night.